We've had more than 750 students in the last 13 years, dozens of universities like Oxford, Stanford, Princeton, Columbia, ETH Zurich. We are recognized as the number one leader in the world in this by His Majesty the King.
Cool, so hello everyone, welcome to the A&J Podcast. I'm Jorge Campos, I'm the CEO here at A&J. I have a PhD in management from the University of St Andrews and I'm specialized in psychology by the University of Strathclyde in Scotland as well. With me I have the co-founder of A&J, Sunny Jain.
Hey guys, I'm Sunny. I'm the co-founder of A&J. My background is I did undergraduate in material science and masters in nanotechnology from Oxford University in the UK, and I was also a 2019 fellow at Harvard. And I'm the author of a book that demystifies university admissions called University Admissions Explained.
Fantastic. Why does this podcast exist?
George, very simply, podcasts exist to tell everybody around the world how amazing we are. You and I know how good we are at our job of getting students into the world's best universities. The parents know it. We've had more than 750 students in the last 13 years that we help directly. So that's about 1,500 parents, 750 kids, dozens of universities like Oxford, Stanford, Princeton, Columbia, ETH Zurich. So they know how amazing we are, but most people have never heard about us. So the idea behind this podcast is to explain exactly what we do and how we do, and hopefully some people will watch it and benefit themselves, and maybe some of them will decide actually they want to contact us and work with us.
Absolutely. So A&J was born as A&J Education. A&J Education was and still is helping students get into the world's best universities. However, we've grown beyond A&J Education. So now we have A&J School and we have Unipath. Do you want to tell a little bit the story about A&J? How A&J was, how did you start, and why did you start A&J, and what it is A&J today?
Yeah, for sure. So A&J was actually started by my wife, Isabel, in 2019. But I've been working in the industry for the last 13 years. And originally it was solely a university admissions consultancy. So basically a family come with a 15 or 16-year-old and they say that we want our daughter to go to X university, or we don't know where we want her to go, but we have these plans, these dreams for her. We want her to have better opportunities than we've had. What can you do? And then typically we would do an assessment and we would say, look, this is this is the current level of your daughter. This is where she can be pushed, and this is the plan to get there. So today, that's still about 60% of our revenue is university admissions programs, and we are recognized as the number one leader in the world in this by His Majesty the King. We got this award, which we're going to chat about later. Then a third of what we do is one-on-one tutoring. So online tutoring by outstanding tutors, and how many people per place apply to come and work, teach our students?
Oh,
more than 300, right?
More than 300, yeah.
It's about 320, something like that. So one-on-one tutoring, that's about a third of our revenue. And then A&J School, that we got the accreditation for in recent couple of years. So that's for students, and as you know, online homeschooling doesn't work. It's not the right solution for everybody, right? Because we don't offer sport, we don't offer music, we don't offer drama, but it's an outstanding solution for about 30% of kids. So those with health challenges, those who are elite athletes and travel to competitions, those maybe who parents have sadly divorced and they split time, or maybe parents travel the world for work. That's an outstanding solution for those kids. And then finally, Unipath, and this maybe you're better equipped to tell us about Unipath and where the idea for that came.
Absolutely. So as you wrote the book on university admissions, you have something called the Sunny's admission formula, which we are going to get to it in a bit. But this software will allow schools, such as A&J, to offer their students, a more organized way to apply to university, following the variables that you set forth there. So it's a solution not only an internal tool really, but also a tool for all schools around the world to be able to better support their kids into applying into the world's best universities, really.
Yeah, and I think you've been a bit too humble. That the unique thing about the software is we've been using software internally for many years, third-party providers, right? And we've kind of seen how there is nothing on the market that exactly is built for schools for university admissions. There are a couple of competitors out there. They do a pretty terrible job. No offense to anybody.
Some offense. Some.
Yeah. Sorry guys, you suck. But the additional unique, please don't sue us. The additional unique thing there is that as part of the platform, you have access to a real human who is the current or former admissions officer at an Ivy League university or Oxbridge, and I don't believe there is any platform anywhere in the world that offers that.
Not at all, no. Actually, yes, they do have access to many of our experts, and alongside that, it's and I think this is a bit cliche at this point in time, but it's an AI-first platform, so you'll have access to live statistics or live prediction of your chances of getting into some sort of university, to target university, to target subjects. So that's yet another factor, but that's going to enter the market really shortly, and I think that's going to be an exciting new thing for the market, for the sector, for all schools around. So actually, just bringing back A&J Education, what is Sunny's admissions formula?
Look, Sunny's admissions formula, basically, as I was researching how to write this book, and I almost felt like it was very easy to write it, because it's basically what we've been doing for the last 13 years, with our students. But the formula, it just codified it and simplified it and kind of distilled it into a form that parents and students can easily understand. And I've now explained it to several thousand parents, and everybody gets it first time. So there are 7 components, and I'm sure you guys will see it on your screen right now, but there is the application form, then the CV, and the CV itself can be academic and non-academic. Then there are essays, or one essay. Then there is a transcript, which has achieved and predicted grades. And then there is the references. So these first 5 components go to every single university in the world. And then there are 2 additional components, number 6 and number 7, which some but not all universities require. So number 6 is the additional exam. So for example, you're applying to Oxford University for Economics and Management, you have to do the TSA exam. But if you're applying to economics to UCL, there is no exam. So it just depends on the university. And then finally, there is the additional interview, which if you're applying to medical school in America, there typically is an interview. But if you're applying for history at Hong Kong University, there isn't an interview. So just depending on the country and the university, there may or may not be an interview.
Absolutely. So one question that actually comes to mind here is, or that might come to mind there, because I'm aware of the argument here, but so if parents have a lot of money, they'll put the kids through 15,000 different extracurriculars, build their kid into being an athlete of 15 different sports, and that's definitely going to help them get into Harvard.
No. Look, the truth is, acceptance rate for Harvard is 3.5%, but actually that's acceptance rate for US citizens, because for example, when I worked at Harvard, you would have 55,000 kids competing for 1,800 spots, but there is an unofficial quota, and they'll never admit this, but an official quota in all the top universities in America of about 12%. So 12% of 1,800 spots, that's 216. Of those 216, every African dictator wants his granddaughter at Harvard, every sort of European royalty, super wealthy, super well-connected people from around the world, some of whom we work with. But once you kind of get rid of those spots, you're basically either super amazing or well-connected or super wealthy, and you just gotta pay your way in. You have 100 spots left for quote-unquote normal applicants, right? Without crazy money, somebody who cannot just drop £50 million to buy a library to Harvard. And so somebody without that kind of financial pool and somebody with no contacts. And for those 100 spots, you have between 8 to 10,000 applicants from around the world apply, non-Americans, and Brits, Nigerians, Australians, Mexicans, we're all foreigners, Portuguese. So the actual acceptance rate for a non-USA citizen is closer to 1.2%.
Okay.
So your rejection rate as a Portuguese citizen is 98.8%. Now, our programs reduce that from 98.8 to 85, maybe 83, but it's still, it's still 10 times better, but it still sucks, right? Like it's still not amazing. So yeah, and doing loads of activities and thinking that the more you do, the better is wrong. We had Professor McCarthy, who ran a course for our students a couple of days ago here in person in London. He worked at Harvard for 25 years, sits in multiple admissions committees, and he said, look guys, when I see somebody who's interested in everything, it means they're kind of interested in nothing.
Yes. No passion for anything in particular, right? Just just whatever, just take me, I can do anything. Absolutely, completely agree with that. So that's the part, that's really the core business of A&J Education, right? So what we do, parents come to us and we work with their children and their parents as well to prepare them for higher education. But more than that, we actually help them prepare to be functional members of society, isn't it? So we offer a very well-rounded program here. It's not just here is tutoring, go for it. No, there's a mentor that is taking care of the student, that is taking care of every aspect of the student, and there is a whole team behind the scenes as well, ensuring that the student develops accordingly, right?
Yeah, that's right. Look, just getting a kid into X university, we can do it and we're very good at this, but also if they will then have a mental breakdown and just not manage to stay there, that doesn't help anybody. And it's normally the parents. There are some parents who are very focused on a particular university, on that vision, but ultimately it's our job to sort of politely explain, look, it's your child's life, it's not your life, and not every university is best for every student. I'll give you an example. When I went to school, there was a student from my school, he will not be named, who got into Oxford with me, and that student was an extremely high achiever, academically, in sports, socially, was sort of the poster student for the school, and they had a terrible time, basically got depressed at Oxford, and it was very difficult for them. And what actually ended up happening is the family pressure, the expectation that you need to tick this box, you need to please the family, and I'm not sure how much good that's done to to that student. Perhaps they would have been a lot happier, more fulfilled, elsewhere. It's important to find the right university for the student. It's then important to prepare them that they can handle it. So our programs is not making life for students easier. Our programs are probably making lives more difficult for the students because they have extra work from us. But on the other end, they come out totally prepared for university, for life, for all the challenges, because mommy and daddy are not going to be around forever. And I always tell, look, if your parents get hit by a bus tomorrow, can you manage? And the majority of our students can by the end of the program.
Absolutely. I can actually share a story that I share with many of my students, and that is when I graduated high school at 18, I was really not sure what I wanted to do, but it was the height of the financial crisis in 2010 in Portugal. And Portugal was severely hit by it, right? We were part of the pigs. Portugal, Italy, Greece, and Spain.
I'm not sure you can say this stuff anymore, but you're Portuguese. So
I'm Portuguese. I can say it. I can say it. So we were part of the pigs, and so there was quite a big pressure from my parents and from myself, I guess, to find a degree that had a very high employability rate. So I went and I joined computer science in 2010, which had 100% employability rate, and I'm sure it's quite high nowadays as well, at least in Portugal. I spent a year doing that, and I was miserable, completely miserable. So I switched, but I was lost. I didn't know what to do because I kind of needed to study something that had a high employability rate. So I went into accounting, which also has a very high employability rate. Everyone is an accountant. I was miserable there as well. So, moral of the story, I spent so much time trying to please my parents and sitting to this pressure of going to something that had high employability, that I ended up wasting 3 years of my life doing nothing, just spending money, right? Yes, I worked while I studied, but matter of the fact is I still lost those 3 years. Then studied marketing, which I absolutely fell in love with. Then came to the UK with a scholarship to do a master's in data analytics for marketing, again, computer science that applied to marketing. The world does funny turns. And then a PhD in management. The thing is, when we started working together in 2019 in Scotland, I started falling in love with psychology.
I remember that well.
Yeah, with neurodiversity, autism spectrum disorders, and neurodiversity within the students we support. So I started falling in love with psychology, and then I studied and specialized in health psychology then. This to say that perhaps having or being 100% sure of what we want to do when we are 18 is not, we don't need to know what we want to do when we are 18. Our life is going to give a few turns, and we're going to increasingly discover what we are passionate about, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And it's, the kids that we see coming through the door, 15, 16, 14 now, I tell them and their parents, especially when they're, something didn't go to plan, or the right strategy for that student is to take a gap year or to spend more time to prepare. They say, oh well, we're wasting a year. I'm like, look, your child's life expectancy with all the advances in medicine and everything is going to be probably 110, 120 years. A 9-month, 12-month gap year that will put your child on a significantly better path. It's really neither here nor there. Most of them will have to change careers multiple times. So the big one now is it's the opposite what happened to you in 2010, where a lot of parents don't study computer science because AI will eat software, etc. Maybe so, but it's almost as if we're basing a very major kind of life plan. People have recency bias. It was cool to be a doctor, it was cool to be a lawyer, computer scientist. Now I'm not even sure what it's cool to be, to be doing now. But as long as education prepares students in a broad sense, gives them the skills, how to learn, where to find information, how to upskill themselves when they will inevitably need to change their career, that's the right education. That's what I feel I got out of Oxford, that I can look at any subject and I know if I need to become an expert to like a 50-60% level in a few weeks, I can just read a ton of books, know where to find them and become an expert. And I could upskill myself, and that's because all the stuff I actually learned I forgot.
Yeah.
But the research skills, the analytical skills, they're there.
Exactly, that's the point, isn't it? There are no careers anymore that are for life. Like my parents, yes, they were at the same job, at the same company, doing the same thing for 30, 40 years, right? But that doesn't happen anymore, does it? I don't know anyone that kept the same job for the past 10 years, or that stayed in the same position at the same company for the past 10 years. They change, they do different things, right? So the point here is really to prepare them to be able to function in these different roles, in different responsibilities, and so on.
Yeah, that's right.
Cool. About the A&J school, I'm sure that many people might be asking, why should we send their kid into an online school? I want our kids to socialize with other kids, to do sports, why should we send them to A&J school then?
Look, A&J school is not the right solution for everybody, definitely not, but it's an outstanding solution for about 30% of students. So students who have health issues that prevent them from being in mainstream education, the physical issues or neurodiversity issues, A&J school is an outstanding solution for those. And you and I know students in our school who come off medication and are so much happier and less stressed because they're in an online environment. I have one student who told me a couple of months ago, I've learned in 1 week more here than I've learned in 6 months in my old school. That's amazing. We have on the other side, we have elite athletes, and in fact we're going to be announcing that a new student, a very successful young athlete, promising career, which we'll say no more at this stage, is joining the school from September, and she's not the only one, there are a few others, but they travel the world to go to competitions, to train. The training regime is quite, timings all over the place, so online school can support that. So we have a lot of kids whose parents are divorced, and they spend 6 months with mum, 6 months with dad. It's sad, but at least their education is, not disrupted. And then you have parents who travel the world, diplomats, oil and gas, just people who travel different countries, and their child can receive outstanding education from outstanding teachers, being wherever they are. Because in a traditional school, you have the best teachers from a 5-kilometer radius, maybe 20-kilometer radius if it's a really famous school, but that's it. And that's no disrespect to a physical school, but that's a limitation. With an online school, we have 320 applicants per place. We can select outstanding teachers from around the UK, around the world, and make them available to students regardless of their student's location. That's really powerful. Absolutely.
But does it mean the same for the children? Will they still have an official certificate? We've recently been through several accreditation processes, right? One with Cambridge International Education here in the UK. So now we are officially accredited to offer IGCSEs, GCSEs, international A-levels to students. That's very rigorous, as you recall, very thorough, very time-consuming.
Yeah, pain in the neck for sure.
Very much so. Yes, that was. Surely I have an extra couple white hairs because of that. But we are accredited. Same thing, we can offer US high school diploma, APs as well. We've been through 2 very thorough, extra white hairs there, accreditation processes, one for Array Global and another one from WASC, perhaps the biggest name in the US for school accreditation.
Yeah, the Western Association of Schools and Colleges.
Yes, correct, yes. So all our processes, all our curriculum, our staff has been very thoroughly vetted so that we can offer this. Is there, alongside this, is there anything you can say to parents to make them calmer as to why their children should study with us?
Look, a lot of parents just want the kid out of the house. Yeah. The school does babysitting, which we cannot offer, right? Because the kid is inside the house, staring at a computer screen. So that's the one thing that we do not do. And a lot of parents say, well, Sunny, for the price of your online school, I can send my kid to an in-person school. Yes, you can, but that school's a lot worse in terms of the quality of teaching, in terms of the outcomes, in terms of university admissions outcomes. So, but yes, somebody's looking over the child's not in your way in the house. So, different parents value different things. That's not a criticism, it's just how it is. We're not for everybody. But look, with us, the student can travel around the world, they can be at home. They still have to do the exams in person at the end of the year in an official exam taking facility anywhere in the world. So the piece of paper, because of that, is the same as a student who's studying in person in New York or in London or in Hong Kong. The piece of paper is the official government certificate, which is equally as valid. But yeah, apart from that, I'm not sure what else we can say apart from all the time of accreditations, the award from His Majesty the King, and we're the first online school in history to receive a Royal Award, which was a career highlight for many of us. So just reach out to us if you're interested. But sometimes if you keep trying the same thing and it's not working, maybe you need to try something new.
Exactly, and that's really the point here. We also offer something that is called core curriculum, and that's something you coordinate specifically, and something that we are very proud of. What is the core curriculum?
So the core curriculum is a series of 21 modules I developed during COVID, and basically I was stuck at home and I was thinking, well, what did life teach me that the school didn't teach me that I actually need? And I came up, and just to name a few, there is negotiation, negotiating with your colleagues, with your manager, with your spouse, with your whoever. Tax, how to do a tax return, how to open a bank account, how to sign up to get a bank loan to buy a house, how to deal with adversity. All of us, sadly, in our lives, will have to bury a loved one, we'll have a relationship problem, we'll have a health problem, we'll have financial issue. We cannot avoid those, we cannot shelter children from those, but we can give them the tools how to navigate those challenges with dignity, right? So the core curriculum, it's all about that. And it's a pass or fail module. There is no grade, there is no essay that students have to write. And consistently I teach many sections of it, many modules, and I think we can all agree, no disrespect to our colleagues who teach other super important subjects, but I think it's no secret it's one of the favorite subjects, and I'm biased because I teach it, but either children, maybe our students tell this to every teacher because they want to have a good reference, but they often tell that it's their favorite subject and they enjoy it the most.
Absolutely. And that's something we are really proud of, is to prepare, A&J School prepares children for the world, not just to enter a specific university, and that's really a vital part of why we do this, why we are here. But more than this, we also invite them into our ecosystem, the students, right? So the students come, we have many activities, we have many events. We just had Professor McCarthy's course. We have several webinars, we have several boot camps, programming boot camp, AI boot camp. We invite them all, and they are all present in these sort of activities and this ecosystem. And that's something for them, not only to increase their how they view the world and how they better and improve their CV, but also for them to find out what they like and what they don't like, which is an important part of the thing. If you don't try, if you are not exposed to things, you never know whether or not that thing is for you. Yeah. So that's another part of A&J that is important perhaps for people to know.
Yeah. Jorge, can you maybe share a bit more, because you coordinate a lot of students who are on the spectrum, who maybe have confidence issues, who have anxiety, and you've got a master's, and you outside of the master's do a lot of research. Can you just share a bit more about your work with students who are experiencing those challenges?
Yeah, absolutely. That's something that I'm I already said it, but something that I'm very passionate about actually, and working with those kids brings me immense satisfaction. And one key thing and one crucial thing, alongside communication skills, which is a very important thing, is the structure. How do they structure their day? How do they go about their day? And having a structured day is perhaps 90% of the work to be not only more successful academically and in your personal life, but also to calm your anxiety, for also to calm your negative thoughts, your automatic thoughts. Automatic thoughts, those things that if you have health anxiety, for example, automatic thoughts are if you feel something on your shoulder, a bump or something, and automatically think, I'm gonna die. And then you just start that automatic loop and just go down that rabbit hole. And that's super negative. And then anxiety keeps increasing there. Whereas we are able, with a structured approach, we are able to deconstruct those more negative thoughts.
Can we pause for a second?
Yeah, because of
Yeah, I think.
yeah, I think they. Yes, I was. I think they want to come here.